And the last thing is what we call the backup. This is sort of the case here, is that a lot of the things you've been sharing are what we call anecdotes. Personal stories, personal interviews, sort of some of the research there from other people, but they don't have the depth behind them yet. You want to be looking for ways that you can substantiate these claims and these ideas. You want to be looking for experts, and you want to look for research. Now, the core things that you'll do in these ones, number one, you probably haven't been spending a lot of time on this one, so it's important to know that that's okay, right? But when you do it, oftentimes you want to look for people that are sort of in some way have credibility behind them. They're professors. They're people who've written books on things. They have companies about this where they have basically done some work that validates the case you make. So this could be a really well-known author who writes about valuing time. So Dan Pink has a book out there about time. Quoting from Dan Pink is a good expert that you could refer to and talk about these sorts of things. So that's an example of expertise. The second type of one is that you want to look for research. Now, the best way to find research is to literally go out and look for research studies, statistics, and data that back this up. So if you have a theme and a topic, so again, valuing time, Matt might want to go out to Google Scholar. And so Google Scholar is the best place to find research and data that backs up your claim. So every single published academic paper in the world is on Google Scholar. And so you can simply go in there and put value time research into scholar.google.com, and you'll pull up all the studies that are out there. Understand what are experts saying about valuing time. You may very well find that someone has done a study at looking at people who are single and people who are married and how they value time differently. Or whatever it is, you may just Google around. But the key thing is just to go see what you can find so you can back it up. Again, core thing to understand here is as you're planning out your chapter, you want to define it. Make it tight, make it simple, and make it something that you can make the key argument very simply. Again, you want to understand what is the argument you're making. Number two, describe this in longer detail. What do you want to cover in this chapter? What do you want people to feel? How do you want them to understand? Number three, what are the backups, the examples, that you have? What are the examples from stories and anecdotes that you've seen or you want to see in there? And then lastly, what is the backup that you want to provide? Again, if you see this, it's sort of, in some senses here, you'll have really like a handful of sort of things that you want to surmise in that chapter that go under and back up that argument that you have. So it's not particularly complicated, but remember, you're going to do this 12 or 15 or 20 times, depending on how many chapters it is, so you understand that you make the argument from a place of having a foundation behind it. Now, what we'll do next week is we'll talk about how to actually structure this to make the argument compelling, because again, you sort of don't just want to like put it straight in order, because that would be boring, but instead what we're going to do is we're going to learn from other authors and sort of use how they've made the argument and structure it into kind of how they organize their chapters. So let me actually show you how to try it out a little bit, just to give you an example of it very quickly and how we'll play this thing out a little bit. So I want to quickly go back here to sort of show you guys really quickly Nico again. So I'm going to go back here real quick, guys, on the screen and sort of share this here. So really quickly, what I'm going to show you guys on the screen here is just an example of how you might actually use this. So for those of you on the screen here, let me quickly share this with you.